Hey, I'm Dr. Josh, and I'm joined here by Lauren, who's the, as you know, the clinical nutritionist here for our patient care plans. And what we're putting together here in these videos is basically what we're going to call nutrition hot topics, and it's these common questions that we're getting here from the past couple weeks with patients, and helping to answer some of these questions on your own time and as you're going through your material, but also to just help educate as we move forward through plans and how you're building your nutrition strategy. So coming up with the three most common questions, and I'm going to ask Lauren these questions and have her help answer these out. So first question number one is, Lauren, what ingredients should I look out for in packaged products?
Yeah, so many times when you guys first start here, we're all about gluten-free. So usually the first place I send you is to the gluten-free aisle. But just because something is gluten-free doesn't mean it's always going to be the most beneficial for you. So common ingredients that you should be looking for on the ingredients label, so flipping the package over and reading it. If it's got almond flour, coconut flour, cassava flour, tapioca flour, or tapioca starch, those are all good flours to be using in some of those packaged products. Some that can become questionable is going to be the brown rice flours, the sorghum, and the amaranth. Those grains, they're grains, so obviously something we want to stay away from, but sometimes it's hard to find products without those in there. So we do make some exceptions to the rule, that exception being not consuming that product every day.
Okay.
Maybe taking that product and doing it once a week, or just using it for emergencies. You know, if you're running around doing errands and that bar is the only thing that you have to eat and it saves you from going through the drive-through, you know, that's an exception that we might make.
Okay. I've noticed on labels, and as I look at them, so obviously the number one ingredient on there is what is most in that package.
Correct, yeah.
So what if you see like sorghum flour or quinoa or one of these grains that's down on the list even further?
Yeah, so that'll be a little bit better because obviously the top of the list is what they're using most of,
okay,
and then the bottom of the list is what they're using a little bit less of. So things like sorghum, amaranth, those things haven't been studied as far in terms of like gut health and how those things, especially when they're processed in bars like that, it hasn't been studied. The direct effect that might have on the gut. So, you know, we would say guilty until proven innocent on those. But yeah, just kind of alternating when you're having those types of things will be more beneficial.
Okay, great. Any of the top bars that you continue to recommend?
Yeah.
Within the confines of a patient program? Sure,
yeah. So my favorite ones are the Bulletproof collagen protein bars. They have the least amount of sugars in them. I think there's only like 2 grams of sugar. They're using a little bit of stevia in their products, and then the protein is grass-fed whey protein,
okay,
collagen protein.
Yeah.
So that's good. The Go Macro bars are pretty solid in terms of their ingredients. They do use they're a little bit higher in sugars, but you know, even like breaking those up in halves at the time if it is causing a problem with the blood sugars. Another one that I like are the RX bars.
Mm-hmm.
Those are made with primarily dates and then usually some other type of nuts like cashew or almonds, and then usually like egg whites.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, I think I have one more. Rev Organic, it's over at Fruitful Yields. It's mainly like a nut bar, so they use like almonds or cashews,
yeah,
and then they throw in, I think they use like a agave syrup.
Yeah.
So, you know, not 100% the best. I know you do the caveman bars.
I do the caveman bars.
The caveman bars are great.
They work for me.
Yeah, I think the caveman bars are really good. Quick snack, and it has a little bit higher fat, so it'll keep you full a little bit longer.
Yeah, another question, just as we're on the topic of bars, protein seems to be on the labels in the front, and everybody talks about protein, how much protein you're getting. So in these particular bars, what's a good rule of thumb to go by on a, the protein content, the grams of protein per bar? What's ideal?
Yeah, so you want something that your body's going to be able to digest. Obviously, any bar that's going to have more than, I would say, 12 to 15 grams of protein, we probably want to take a step back from and really just kind of determine what type of protein's in there. And you just want to be able to break that down. So anything higher than 15, I would probably stay away from, but we're really looking at in and around anywhere between 8 and 12 grams.
Great. Got a little skewed on that question, but that's fine. That's what we do. We go on the rabbit trails. All right, question number 2 on our hot topics right now. What's the difference between high expeller pressed and high oleic oils?
Okay, yeah, so it's really just how they're processing the oil. So when you go to the grocery store, common oils will be in salad dressing.
Yeah.
So you flip it over, the first thing you're going to see is some type of oil.
Soybean or canola.
Yeah,
Oof.
something like that. And it's hard to find dressings with just like the good oils, like the avocado, olive oil, coconut oil. You won't really see a lot of products with those, but you will see some products with the high expeller press or the high oleic pressed oils. So that's just how they get the oil from the seed. So whether you're using, almond oil or coconut oil, it's just how they're extracting that oil. So the high oleic tend to have a little bit more monosaturated, unsaturated fats in them, as opposed to sometimes you'll see like a low oleic or a mid oleic. Those have more polyunsaturated fats, so we want to stay away from those.
Definitely want to stay away from those.
Yeah, but the high expeller press, usually at a moderate temperature when they're expressed, it's kind of like a crank.
Yeah.
They put the seed in to crank out the oil.
Okay.
Usually it's one crank or one press, and they can extract about 65% of the oil.
Like expeller press?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to be better than just the regular oil because they're not using any chemicals to extract those oils. So high expeller press, high oleic oils are going to be your better ones to see on the labels.
Okay.
And if you can get a cold press oil, I think they just sell those individually. You won't necessarily see that.
So both of these are high in monounsaturated?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one does the polyunsaturated?
The mid oleic or the low oleic.
Okay.
Yep.
And those will be indicated on the label?
Yeah, they usually are. They usually are. And then if there's no indication, if it just says the oil, just put it back on the shelf. Unless it's an avocado oil or an olive oil, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if it's a soybean oil, a canola oil, and it doesn't say high oleic or high expeller press, just put it back.
Yeah. And rule of thumb, so when you're looking at the fats, saturated fats are typically non-toxic. We scare away from saturated fats, but worked in the right amount, they're not going to contribute to body fat. They're a preferred fuel source. They're typically non-toxic to the body. Same thing for monounsaturated. Those fats are good. They're preferable fuel sources for the body. The ones that we have to really identify and separate out are the polyunsaturated fats, because these are essential fats to the body, meaning that your body doesn't produce them. So your good polyunsaturated fats are your omega-3 fats, so fish oils, fish, deep green leafy vegetables. And then your bad polyunsaturated fats are going to be your grains and your seeds of your grains. So it's real important to choose your oils wisely, because oils in the bad forms and pressed from these grains are super inflammatory, and they are on our do not eat list because of their high toxicity and their high inflammatory value. So keep in mind on the oils that you use. And anything that you see partially hydrogenated on any label, run. So stay away from that material, hands down.
For sure.
Good. All right, question number 3. What about xanthan gum, cornstarch, or sunflower lecithin? You say lecithin.
Yeah. So those are usually just going to be emulsifiers to kind of bulk up the food, to hold, especially in bars, you'll see it a lot, that holds the bar together. Obviously cornstarch, anything from corn, anytime you see anything with corn on the ingredient list, just put it back. You don't even want to mess around with it. Even if it's like modified cornstarch, just just put it back. In terms of the sunflower lecithin, I think sometimes soy lecithin is another one. They're not necessary. I haven't seen anything through evidence that would show that that's really harmful towards the
they don't
body.
have the proteins in those, right?
Right. So your body's not going to be as affected by them. So that's just one exception to the rule. People are like, well, this you say no soy, but this has soy lecithin in it or sunflower lecithin in it. It's going to be the exception to the rule when it comes to those things.
Yeah, the offending ingredient or the offending component of soy is the protein, right? Yeah, and so the protein, if it doesn't have soy protein in it, it's used in this manner where it's going to help emulsify and connect the foods. But the protein is the offender in the gut as a legume, and it's component of lectins, right? It's a whole nother topic. Don't let me get started on that. So that's good. I know some people have reactions to xanthan gum. Sometimes we find that in food inflammation tests, but ultimately the biggest things that we want to stay away from here is any corn derivative, right? So when we're talking about an inflammatory product, corn is a grain, and that grain is
corn and maltodextrin is another one that I left out that you find a lot in products. Maltodextrin, unless it specifies that it's coming from tapioca, it's most likely going to be coming from corn. There's a couple other elements that it could be coming from, but if it doesn't specify that it's tapioca, it's most likely going to be a corn emulsifier.
Awesome. Well, that's it for today. So we went over the packaged products and looking for some of those hidden grains in there, what's good, what's bad. We talked about some of the oils, and we also talked about some of those additives that are emulsifiers. So any questions that you have nutritionally, please shoot us an email or respond to this feed. We'll be happy to get those answered for you in video form. And we'll see you soon. Stay well.
Yeah, have a good one.